and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be your host. We are the YouLi to Travel team, the behind the scenes, and we are on a mission to empower trip planners and tour operators in 2021 and beyond um, to create transformational trips. And today we're going to be talking about spreading the word about your adventures and monetizing on your audience and affiliate links and getting more bookings. That's exciting news that we have prepared for you. We have a lot of talking to do. So let me introduce our hosts. As you have Jen Fain is our co-founder, the visionary, the product owner, and the CEO of YouLi to Travel.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. And Ellie, as she is known to us, is the Academy resident and the support guru. She's always there to support you in the giant box. This is the human behind the bot.
I am the computer in YouLi. That is me.
Awesome. Now, yeah, let's get it started. I'm gonna give it straight to Ellie and start sharing my screen.
Awesome.
In the meantime, if you guys want to ask any questions or introduce yourself, to say where you joining us from, and if you are currently using YouLi platform, please let us know, and we'll adjust the content that I'm giving to you right now to what you need.
Exactly. Thanks, Vika.
Right on.
Perfect. Can everybody see the screen? Can everybody see? Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a a layman's term, brief overview of all things kind of analytics and source tracking today. We have Jen with us also to do all of the deep diving. So she'll be able to talk even deeper about all of the different things. And we're really excited to talk about source tracking and analytics with you today, particularly because we've been doing some of the background work on this in YouLi. So we're really excited to show you how you can now do a lot of this analytics and source tracking within YouLi. But before we even dive into that, we just wanted to talk a little bit about what is analytics. And truly, analytics is just finding patterns in the data. And that data can be, like website traffic. That data can be source, like acquisition sources. That can be your marketing funnels. And that data can be a lot. So the truth is, right, that it's finding ways to see that data in a way that makes sense, as well as turn that data into something that's beneficial for you as the planners. So, right, being able to track that data and see, oh, all of my sources are coming from this website, or this agency or ambassador is sending me a lot of registrations. Or this campaign, this marketing channel or Facebook is working really well for my audience. So this picture that we have here is actually just a snapshot in time of Google Analytics, right? So it's showing you, in this case, all of the different areas where your travelers or your people are in the world. And it's showing you how many people have been on your website or trip page. It's showing you desktop versus mobile, right? Lots of information. The question is deciding which information is important to you at each time.
And that's always the hardest part. I find oftentimes people end up with just a whole bunch of data and then they just don't know what
you do with
it. Like, oh, what does it mean that I'm 66% desktop and 33% mobile? And that's definitely where things get kind of hard. But we always feel like the thing is you just got to focus on the next business problem that you have and then work with the data that you've got or get more data so you can answer the questions you need. And then just focus in on one, which is why today we're going to be sort of focused on one particular case.
So Vika, if you go to the next slide, actually, so right, there's kind of two prongs, right? There's this Google Analytics prong and source tracking prong, right? So Google Analytics really helps you monitor trip page, website traffic, right? Who's coming to your page at what times, where are they coming from? How long are they on your website page, right? And that type of information. It is so much to learn. It is a rabbit hole, if you will. And we can talk about that honestly for days, hours, years, right? And Jen is, I would call an absolute expert at Google Analytics. And you can talk to Jen kind of on a one-on-one if you would like about this. However, today, what we really want to show you is a very specific example of source tracking, specifically in YouLi. So source tracking helps you really with this conversion tracking and really figuring out that marketing funnel as well. Yeah, anything you want to add, Jen, before I push this onwards?
No, it's good.
Awesome. So what is source tracking, right? What is that? And source tracking really is telling you where your customers are coming from, right? It literally is tracking the source from where they're coming. And that happens via the URL at the top of your kind of web page. It allows you to really see where your travelers are coming from, whether that's Facebook or LinkedIn or affiliates, maybe even an email newsletter, right? When they register on your YouLi trip page. And this is, if you go to the next slide, Vika, super, super important and valuable because it helps you figure out, right, where to spend your time and energy, right? Which marketing channels are the most effective? If you're not getting any success with LinkedIn, but tons on Facebook, right, you should be putting energy into your Facebook marketing and Facebook promotions. If you are realizing you have one agency or one ambassador that sends you all of this amazing clientele, right? How can you show them love, or how can you give them their commission, or those types of things, right? And so it really helps you make sure that you're spending your time and energy where it's going to bring you the most back as well. Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, so just one thing to kind of emphasize with the source tracking versus kind of like the Google Analytics, you'll find in source tracking, you actually know who the people are because they've actually registered and you've identified them. Whereas Google Analytics, there's a whole lot of data in there, which, you know, some of it could be bots. Some of it could be the people who just clicked and it turns out, you know, not really for them, they never registered. So Google Analytics can have a lot of noise in it. And that's why we really want to start with source tracking, because source tracking tells you who are the people that actually took the time to register and express interest and book onto your trip. So I'm going to steal the screen share and show you what that really looks like. So can everyone see my screen? I'm looking at a payments report and I've got 3 people there. Is that good?
I can see.
Okay. All right, so this is a new report that we've rolled out. So everyone, when they come to your dashboard, usually on group trips, you just click into reports and payments. And this is going to show you all the payments across all your trips, and you can filter that based on time. And so, you know, hopefully you're like many of our clients, you're starting to actually see bookings coming in, which is amazing. So, you know, we're on our way back up. And if you see a booking come in and you think, wait, Alona, I don't know who Alona is. Where did she come from? You click on her and it opens up her trip board, and it's going to show you that she actually came from the affiliate adventure agency Austin. So that's really helpful because maybe, you know, maybe during this pause, you've kind of been negotiating some new partnerships, and this is what tells you that that's actually working. So how did we get here? How did we get to the point where Alona not only registered, but also booked and paid, and we know that she came from the adventure agency Austin? Well, the way you do that is when you're grabbing your share trip link, so you do the normal thing of copying that, but before you send that off to your affiliate to share, you're actually going to be modifying that link to add this at the end. So this is the important thing. Can everyone see this? I know it can sometimes be a little bit small on the screen, and we are going to share this on the slide shortly as well. But the main thing to notice here is you've got UTM medium equals affiliate, and UTM source equals adventure agency Austin. That can be anything you want. This is completely up to you. So it can be the name of the affiliate. It could be a code. A lot of our clients just use actual codes instead. and they just know how that's mapped to the relevant agency. So we recommend not using spaces. It's less likely to break that way, but ultimately you can put whatever you want there. And then you take that link and you copy that and share. You can absolutely shorten that link before you send it off to your affiliates, but what mostly matters is that these tracking parameters are included in the link that you give to your affiliate, and that's the link that they give to the people that they're referring to you. Now, remember that when people go to that link, they're going to land on your trip page, just like they normally would. And so it's all happening behind the scenes. Like the traveler has no idea that there's extra tracking going on. And then when they click and complete this express interest form and they register, that's when they get added to your people. And so here you're going to see a whole big long list of people that are on your trip. And then when you click into their trip board, you can see where they came from. So that's the full circle. And I'm just going to pause a little bit and see if anybody has any questions on what I just described, because I know for people who aren't familiar with URLs, that can seem a little bit tricky. Has anyone done this before, added tracking parameters to their links for other purposes? Does anyone want to be bold and say they know what UTM parameters are? Come on, Nick, you must know. No, okay.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah.
Can you actually talk a little bit about if it's not just like an agency, what else could show up? Like what other types of things can show up for tracking?
Yeah, absolutely. So the other things that can show up here is it could say referral, and then it could say l.facebook.com or m.facebook.com, or it could say linkedin.com. Or one of my favorite stories was from one of our clients. She saw it said referral, and then I forget the site, but it was some random site had actually written a profile about her that she didn't know about. And somebody had clicked from that and registered interest. So she discovered that she had actually been profiled on a website because it had driven a sign up to her trip page. So, you'll sort of come to discover that you have sources maybe you didn't even know were sources. And you can also click in and check this box and then export selected, and you can do it for everybody. And then when you get the export, it's going to include additional information. So the medium, the source, and so medium can be lots of things. It could be email. So if you're sending email marketing campaigns, you would set your UTM medium equals email and your UTM source equal MailChimp. And then your tracking campaign would be UTM campaign equals, Black Friday sale, things like that. And we will save all of those values for the people who register, so you know that email campaign drove people to register. We also send the full URL. So if it did come from Facebook, we'll give you that entire link of where it came from in case you really want to get into the nitty gritty of the data. And then we just give you that domain. So just the high level, was it LinkedIn? Was it Facebook? Was it Travel Massive? Something like that. Same thing if you do any kind of paid ads, when you make sure that you add your UTM codes, they'll all get saved here in this export. Did that answer your question?
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing to this as well is, like, for example, the way we use it at YouLi is that's how you guys registered for this specific event is through YouLi registration page. And on my side, the marketing side, I go in and see where everybody came from, because you could have heard it on Facebook, you could have read about it on our email. We are posted on Travel Massive, we posted on Eventbrite. And for me to know where I need to put in my marketing energy depends on what this result shows. And that's what reports shows me exactly. So if you notice also, as you came in, there was a question that asked you, how did you hear about us? That this is relying on your traveler's word, right? And your client's word. But you also have data analytics behind all of this to show you where they actually came in from, where they first find you, not necessarily where they came to this specific page from.
And I just want to also add, so we are seeing clients on YouLi really engaging with affiliates. So affiliates, right, have their own specific URL and code, and they're able to now promote, right, the trip pages on behalf of this client, and they're getting bookings based off of other people promoting their trip, which is super powerful, right? The fact that you can say, yes, you get whatever amount commission or a goodie bag, I don't know, and get bookings coming in. Mm-hmm.
One of the tricks that I recommend is, like, once you've built it, one of the things I like to do is just jump back in and go into my planner notes for my trip. And then, I might just pop that in there so that I can save it. So I don't have to kind of like keep recreating it. So I make sure that I've got my question mark, which is like adding on to the end of my share trip link. And then I've got my medium. Now in this case, I've chosen affiliate, and I've got my source, which is my adventure agency, Austin. But what if I actually want to do an email campaign? So if I want to change this, then I would change this to UTM medium equals email, and UTM source equals, let's say, MailChimp, if that's what I'm using. And then I might add an extra parameter here called UTM campaign equals Black Friday, right? So then you can kind of have this little template that you modify each time you send. Now, a lot of email marketing platforms will actually do this for you. So that's one of the things to recognize, is that sometimes you want to do this by hand. Like if you're giving an affiliate a tracking link, you do it by hand. But if you're doing like a Facebook post, we'll pick that up for you. Like you don't have to add these parameters. We will detect that it came from Facebook and we'll tell you that. But if you want to tell us specifically that it was a particular campaign, that we can't detect. We can't do that for you. So you have to tell us that it's a Black Friday campaign. And you do that by adding this parameter. But the great thing about this is you can add it, you can not add it. Like we'll do our best to figure out where your lead came from. And the more information you can give us, the better, and we'll share that with you. But if we have to, we'll just kind of be like, yeah, it came from Facebook, and we'll tell you that. Or, oh, it came from, came from a Travel Massive article or something like that. So keep in mind as well that these are universal. So UTM tracking codes, they're in all the marketing platforms. So any of you who have ever done any kind of marketing links, email, maybe done some paid campaigns, things like that, you will have seen UTM codes before. So this is standard. So these kinds of links, and if you work with a marketing agency, they should very much be aware of these kinds of codes. So this is not YouLi specific. This is actually really, industry wide. So it's just showing you how we handle those UTM codes and save them into your trip board and into your exports so that you can use them.
I have been learning a lot as YouLi has been building this out and exposing this. And for me, it was a concept at the beginning that my URL could tell me so much information about what was happening on the entire page. So essentially what I've learned, right, is the URL at the top of the page is actually telling me a lot of information. And if I learn to kind of translate what that information is, in this case, right, medium, where it's coming from, source, that deeper dive, and then campaign, right, is specifically what I'm promoting there. It tells you a lot of information of it's like a whole language in and of itself. So
this would
be that was a learning curve for me.
Mm-hmm. And it totally is. And I think the most important thing that I always tell people, look, don't feel like you have to understand the entire world of analytics, right? Like just start with something that you need. Do you need to get affiliates to send you leads, and do you need to track that? Then just make an affiliate link. And if you don't understand like the broader idea of this or how you might use it generally, that's okay. You just have to use this. Just use this formula and replace this word with whatever, right? And that's all you have to do. You just take that and use the formula. You don't have to know how it works or why it works. You just have to do that. And in the new year, we're going to be working on actually giving you guys the ability to sort of onboard affiliates. who would then be able to go and grab their own links. So you won't even have to build them by hand. So that's something that we're working on for the new year. But if you're like ready to go and relaunch, then we wanted to make sure you guys knew how to do it by hand.
And also just point out where it shows up now in YouLi. Like Jen said, a lot of this gets pulled automatically for you because the universe is doing it already, which is really nice. So a lot of the times now, hopefully you're clicking into your travelers trip boards and you're going to see exactly where they came from, which is just great. So yeah, a lot of this too is going to just be happening on the backside. And there are powerful ways for you to use that to then get more bookings and put your energy and promotion where it should be to keep moving with that momentum.
I feel like we've talked a lot. There must be questions. Feel free to pop them in the chat if you don't want to speak up, but you're also welcome to unmute and ask directly.
So if you're sorry, it's George here. From the other side, if say you're signing on a new affiliate, would they have to do anything else apart from just use that specific code? That's
it. Yeah. So if this is George's affiliate, right? And so you give that whole link to them. Yeah, that's it. You say, but you tell them in your terms and conditions, you say, look, if you don't give them the right link, we can't track it, so we can't give you credit. So you put the burden on them, make sure that they don't, drop it off. It's like, because if that happens, then we can't track it, right? So just making sure that you tell them, yep, use this link. And if they want to shorten it, if they want to use a bit.ly, shortened links, like if you look on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, the links are always those short ones. And that's what will automatically happen when you share onto socials. But they'll ultimately get turned back into this link when it hits our servers, and then we capture that information.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, it really is, it's just a link. And, it's funny how powerful just a link can be, right? So you just have to, the hard part's negotiating your terms with your affiliates, right?
And if the so the affiliate is is working with someone not on YouLi, and is it hard to say, like, I'm an affiliate in hypothetical terms, how do they collect that data if it's just a normal website?
So when you say they're working with someone else, like meaning they
just have a regular website, not a YouLi landing page.
So
then I think there's one part we may be like missing this connection is to see this data. It comes from Google Analytics.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So yeah. So you need to have your account connected to Google Analytics, and it pulls from there. So it's not YouLi information, it's information that's coming from analytics. So if you have, this is a YouLi trip on the back event, this has the your analytics ID in it. You connect it once, and then it tracks it, and then it pulls into here, but it pulls from analytics.
But I think, George, I'm misunderstanding. If you're talking about if your affiliate has another website where they collect, like, they're getting their customers on another website, that's fine. But so, for example, like, we won't track that. We don't have any visibility into your affiliate's website. We only have visibility into the trip pages that we're hosting for you.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
So what you might do, though, is you might say to your affiliate, take your mailing list and send this link to them, right? And they send that to their mailing list and say, hey guys, new trip just came out. You should totally check it out. Click this link to register. And if you put that in their email newsletter and it lands on our page and then those people register, we give credit to that source.
They also, George, I'm not sure if this answers your question, but like they could use this link as a button too. So if for some reason, right, they have like a photo or like they've created a graphic for your trip to promote it, the button is this link, and then they get bumped straight into the trip and they click on that, right? And then we're able to track that for you. Is that kind of what you're asking a little bit, or?
Yeah. I guess just at all costs, just using that link for every.
At all costs, yeah.
Just put it out there everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think most affiliates are used to the concept that they have an affiliate code. So you probably have you could just literally give them a code, right? You will then have to store that somewhere that you keep track of, like who is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And that's what we're going to be working on next year to kind of give you the ability to actually invite affiliates onto the platform. They would complete profiles. They would have all their information in there. We would auto-generate that source code for them, and then they would just grab their links from there. But we didn't want to sort of wait until we had built out the full dream. We wanted to make sure that if you guys are doing affiliates today, that you can just give them their code. So, Adventure Australia agency, right? So whatever that is, that will mean that when you go and look at the registration or the booking, you'll know who that is, right? Like that's the key thing, like put a code here. So think of the source as kind of being like a nickname or a code that you're giving to your affiliate. Good questions. So how many people now are ready to share affiliate links? How many people feel like, I get this, I'm going to do this? Yeah, I see some nods. That's good. Those of you who are not nodding, anything, is it a technical problem or is it a, I'm not ready to work with affiliates yet? Unsure. Well,
yeah.
So, I mean, I think the thing to recognize, we're a tech platform. We're here to support you. We're here to make the technology work for you. And so we just want to make sure you know the little tricks to make that work. If you want to do a deep dive, so like if you want to spend some time with me understanding how to build these links and coming up with a strategy of like, well, here's all my channels. How do I track all of them so that when I get a registration, I know where they came from? I'm available. You can actually click into here and click request a demo. Or I think actually there's going to be a link sent out I think there's going to be a link sent out so you can book a one-on-one with me. So so normally that would be just like $100, but as part of our sort of end of year, we're doing it for $50. And I just spend a whole hour answering all your sort of tracking and analytics questions, making sure your Google Analytics is set up right, making sure you know how to view those reports, and making sure you understand the difference between like visitors and then registered people and booked people and kind of like how you track that full marketing funnel. But of course, it's all very specific to every individual. So you sort of, if you're not 100% on it, I do recommend taking the time to really dig in and figure it out. Because if you don't know where people are coming from, then you don't know where to invest to get more of the same. I think we're just going to jump back into the slideshow, Vika, and just kind of make that easy to view.
Question?
Yeah, Nick.
So I think I don't have a confusion right now, but because all of I've got a very large mailing list, and whenever I send something out, all the responses are going to be directly response from those emails. So what I do like about this is that it's now going to force me to think of other ways that I can get the word out to other places, because of course I want to use the features. What I'd be really interested in is knowing what parts of my sales page are getting eyeballs.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's a great question. So that's something where that's down that Google Analytics rabbit hole. So it's what's called events. So you need to go into Google Analytics and you need to decide, I want to know when they scroll on my highlights. I want to know when they click on the show more on the highlights. I want to know what you decide what it is that you're looking for. And then you define those as specific events. And that's where, it's something where we would sit down and kind of understand that. Because again, you don't want to end up in a situation where you've got like 100 things and you just can't process it. So you want to think, what are the most important ones, and then define those events.
Okay, cool. I might reach
I
out
just-
to you more of that later.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do want to add, Google Analytics is free. So you can make a free account for Google Analytics and start tracking your website and trip pages now. I will say it is a rabbit hole and overwhelming, but but it's powerful. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'd also recommend, if you are kind of starting down that rabbit hole, looking into Google Analytics 4, which is the new version that's coming out, because I actually find it's a lot easier to understand. So if you haven't spent the time to master the old Google Analytics, it might be time to start mastering the new one instead. But whichever one you're going for, it will take you time. Give yourself permission. Be patient with yourself. But yeah, and definitely, if you want to pop up the presentation, Vika, and we can, I just want to make sure you guys have taken away at least we wanted you to come away with the very clear, here's how you do these links, right? So if we go to after the demo one, yeah, this one. So, and we'll make sure that this gets sent out in the follow-up email as well. This is your pattern, right? We've talked about a lot of stuff, but this is your pattern if you just want to do affiliate tracking. And for those of you who are a little bit more creative, you can replace affiliate with email or other things, and you replace source with other things. But if you're just getting started, that's the one to take away. All right, next slide. Yeah, so normally, oh, sorry. So yeah, if you do want to do that deeper dive, please do so, and book that in with me. I love getting into the rabbit hole. Vika and Ellie will tell you,
it's true.
So yeah, so that's your link there. So feel free to book that in, and I will do my best to direct you towards the things that are actually going to give you the most immediate value as well. Because look, you're not going to become masters of Google Analytics. It's just, there's too many things. So it's really about understanding, so Nick's case is, I want to know what people are doing on my trip page, because that helps him, right? Because that gives him information he can use, because then he can decide, oh, I need to spend more time on my itinerary because people are spending a lot of time reading it. But if he looks at that data and says, oh, everyone's just looking at the highlights and then registering, maybe I don't need to put as much time into the itinerary, right? So that's the kind of information that you can get out of your analytics data, which is really powerful. So I think that might be the next topic that we dive into, is maybe we'll work with Nick and then use him as a case study. All right. So we wanted to keep it pretty straightforward on a relatively challenging topic, but of course you're always welcome to ask us questions, watch our videos, and just open the little chat bot to chat with Ellie. So if you're trying out these links and they're not working for you, just go ahead and click on the help and let us know.
Send us a message. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. And I'm really optimistic that, people are starting to think about how to get affiliates on and get more bookings. It's going to happen. So take this time to be prepared, because before you know it, you're just going to be overwhelmed with managing bookings instead. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be sending the recording in the registration page and your email.
Thank you so much for your time.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Happy holidays.
You have a nice holiday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.